Okay, I know you've watched 12-1 work together. This is 12-1 application because your application problem is different than your work together on your own, and I just don't think that's fair to make you try to figure it out by yourself. Here they are giving you time cards, and they're saying, okay, these are the filled out time cards. Maybe these are done digitally. They have a computer. Here's, where you clock in on the time card. I don't know what your guys' experiences are, if you've ever actually seen a time card where you stick the card in the machine and it punches it with the time, the date and the time. Okay, so on this time cards, they are dealing, if you notice, this isn't 8 o'clock and this isn't 12 o'clock. It's the actual time. And if you notice here, what is 12:56? Okay. So they do not use military time. Some time cards will use military time. If you don't know what 5 o'clock is at military time, you would add 12 to it. If it's after the lunch time, 12 noon, then you add 12 to the number. So this would be 1700. Anyways, this problem doesn't make you do that. I do think you get into a situation where they might make you do that. I'm not for certain if it pops up on your test. But anyways, I want you to know how to handle that situation. Because with military time, they add 12 hours. So this is 1700. That way, the military person knows when they say 1700, they don't have to say, is that 5 o'clock in the morning or do you want me here at 5 o'clock in the afternoon? They know automatically. And I hope if ever I'm wrong, I say something and it's not correct, please let me know. I'm not perfect. I do make my mistakes. As you notice, the computer had, whoever set up the last chapter, made lots of mistakes when they put in the answers. And I'll be notifying the company, but this year it's not going to help us. Okay, so anyways, here's our time cards that we have to deal with. If we take this and you think about it and you're doing minutes, that's a hassle, right? So what happens is that most places will go every 15 minutes. Okay, so here this becomes 8 o'clock. You checked in 1 minute before 8. You're not getting paid for that minute because you didn't check in at 7:45. Now, I'll warn you, I worked for a company, and being who I am, I was very cautious and knew that if I didn't take 15 minutes for my lunch break, they couldn't charge me or take away 30 minutes for my lunch break. And they caught it. And actually, I guess that, they had to give me that 30-minute lunch break. And so they were quite insistent that I had to take that full time. So you can't really push your luck too much. They were nice about it, but they said, you have to go ahead and take your lunch time. So if we arrive at 7:59, that goes to 8 o'clock. And there's a bell, so I'm going to try to pause this if I can remember how. Okay, it seems like most of the traffic's out of the way. Okay, so here we're looking at 8, we're looking at 12 o'clock. To figure out the number of hours worked, you take departure time, that means the time you leave work, and you gotta forgive me for my little scribbling. That's a D. Okay, let's try that again. I'm not very good with this. I hope you're better. Minus your arrival time, the amount time you get there in the morning, or the come back from lunch, because some people will have an hour lunch. Some people might leave for the day. So you have to take all those into consideration. Not everybody works a regular, plain old 8-hour day. And that equals the hours worked. So D, departure time, minus your arrival time equals your hours worked. So let's look at the first one. Departure time in the morning, right here, was 12 o'clock. And you can laugh at my funny drawings because I didn't know how else to do this so that you could see how I was doing it. Minus, here's 8 o'clock, right? So what's 12 minus 8? Well, it's 4. So I have 4 hours worked in the morning. Well, this is regular hours, overtime hours, afternoon. 4 hours in the morning. And they expect you to remember plus what you work in the afternoon. Well, if we take our departure time, which is 5 o'clock, you minus your arrival time that you arrived back to work, you have 1 o'clock. 5 minus 1 equals 4. So I'm not going to write that out because I'm too terrible at it. So 4 plus 4 equals 8. 8 hours worked. So that's what you put here, is an 8. Is there any overtime? No. So you don't have to put a 0, okay? They don't want you to put it in if there isn't any. If we do this math here, we're dealing with 12 and 8 again, 5 and 1. Same hours, 8 hours. No overtime. Here, are we dealing with the same time frames? Yeah. You can look. 8 hours. But we have overtime to figure. So once again, your departure time, 8 o'clock, minus your arrival time, 7 o'clock, leaves us 1 hour. And going on down, if you look at them, you'll discover that they all have 8s for regular hours. Here we have overtime again. Now here we have 7:30 minus 6. 7:30 minus 6. Remember how I talked about that? We have to count that overtime, this half an hour. You worked it. You deserve to be paid for it. Now, if that was 14 minutes, you would only get 1 hour. If it was 1 hour and 14 minutes, then you get 1 hour. But this is 1.5 hours of overtime. How did I do it? 7:30 minus 6 o'clock. So then you get 1.5, right? If ever I'm wrong, you speak up. Call me. Okay, I know you can't just speak. Here again, we're looking at the same time frames. 8 o'clock, 8 hours. Here we're looking at overtime. 7:30, 6 o'clock. Take 7:30 minus your 6 o'clock, you get 1.5 hours of overtime. 8. Now, how many hours of regular hours are there? Well, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. 8 times 5 is 40, and 8 times 5 is 40, and 40 plus 40 is 80. Now you take 80 and you times it by the 1180, and bring up a calculator. And look at this. Add a copy. Paste. Now that looks like a lot, but you have to remember this is 2 weeks. Now we add up our overtime. We don't need a calculator for that. 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. Now, the rate of overtime is 1.5 times your regular rate of pay. So we're going to take the 1180 and we're going to times it by 1.5. That's 1.5. So $17.70 is what they make for overtime per hour. Now, so you take 1770 and you times it by your 4. $70.80. Now, total hours worked are 84. Total amount earned is $944 plus the $70.80. Now, it kind of looks a little strange in a way because you're thinking, you know, that's not a lot of money for overtime. But it all adds up. And that's how you're going to do it, and you're going to do it for all of these. Here, look, there's a half an hour in here, and here's the half an hour in here. This is one straight hour. There's another half an hour situation going on there. So 9:30 minus 7. Figure it out. Be careful with that. Don't mess up. I just want to let you have a video on how to do this. Anyways, have a great day. Work really hard.